التهديد السيبراني هو كل أعمال البلطجة التي تحدث على شبكة الإنترنت. يمكن أن يحدث ذلك في رسالة بريد إلكتروني، رسالة نصية أو لعبة على الإنترنت أو على موقع الشبكات الاجتماعية. والحقيقة هي أن التهديد الذي تشكله اختراقات الأمن السيبراني يعد أمراً خطيراً ويمكن تجنبه. والمفتاح لتخفيف ذلك هو فهم أن الأمن السيبراني ليس مجرد مسألة تقنية، بل هو أيضاً مسألة استراتيجية وعاجلة أيضاً. يجب أن تكون على قمة أولويات كل مجلس إدارة وكل فريق إداري، إذ يعتبر الأمن السيبراني مجموع من الوسائل التقنية والإدارية التي يتم استخدامها لمنع الاستخدام الغير مصرح به على شبكات الكمبيوتر وسوء الاستغلال واستعادة المعلومات الإلكترونية التي تحتويها بهدف ضمان واستمرار عمل نظم المعلومات وتأمين حماية وسرية وخصوصية البيانات سواء الخاصة بالأفراد أو الجهات في الفضاء السيبراني. والأمن السيبراني مفهوم أوسع من أمن المعلومات، حيث يتضمن تأمين البيانات والمعلومات التي تتداول عبر الشبكات الداخلية أو الخارجية والتي يتم تخزينها في خوادم داخل أو خارج المنظمات. أكد خبراء في الأمن السيبراني أهمية التعاون وتبادل المعلومات الخاصة بالتهديدات السيبرانية في مواجهة الخطر المتنامي لتلك الهجمات، منوهين بحرص اتحاد مصارف الإمارات على وضع أمن المعلومات بشكل عام والأمن السيبراني بشكل خاص على رأس أولوياته. جاء ذلك خلال ملتقى حماية للتعاون وتبادل المعلومات في مواجهة التحديات والتهديدات السيبرانية التي استضافه اتحاد مصارف الإمارات، وهو الهيئة التمثيلية المهنية للمصارف 48 الأعضاء العاملة في الإمارات في دبي، بحضور ما يزيد عن 100 خبير في مجال أمن المعلومات والأمن السيبراني. ضيفنا في هذه الحلقة أحد الخبراء في الأمن السيبراني باتريك فافر، الرئيس الإقليمي لإدارة أمن المعلومات والمخاطر في اتحاد المصارف الإماراتية. أهلا بكم مشاهدينا في هذه الحلقة من الرواد فقط عبر قناة حوار. أهلا بكم مشاهدينا في هذه الحلقة من الرواد فقط على هامش مؤتمر التعاطي مع الأمن السيبري، وضيفنا هو رئيس لجنة أمن المعلومات في اتحاد المصارف الإماراتية باتريك فافر، الذي سوف نتحدث معه في موضوع شيق وهام جدا، وهو خرق النظام المصرفي عن طريق الإنترنت أو المعلومات السيبرية. Mr. Patrice Favre, vous êtes le bienvenu. Vous êtes français, mais on va faire cette interview en anglais.
Sure.
So you are the chairman of the UBF Information Security Committee. You are most welcome. I will start by asking about this conference, talking about the most important information we are dealing with.
Okay. I think the key point that we like to share during this conference is to ensure that the banking industry across UAE, but also we have delegates from Bahrain, from Saudi, from Oman and other countries within the Gulf,
Yes.
understand the need of sharing information. Okay?
Yeah.
So having information is no longer a competitive advantage. What is right those days to protect ourselves is to share this information along our competitor.
So what are the main topics and the main or the prominent speakers in this event or this gathering?
So we have speakers from all around the world. We have someone from US, someone from Malaysia, from Denmark, people from of course Middle East and UAE. The topics move from the technology part. Of course, we can't discuss cybersecurity without talking about technology, but we also cover the regulation aspect. So what our regulator, so UAE Central Bank, the Chief Information Security Officer of UAE Central Bank is one of our speakers today, covering why it's important to sharing and how the regulator is also inviting banks to share information. It's not just us sharing, but it's all, we have been asked to share information. So different topic, different learning from past example, and promoting the best practice along our peers in the banking industry.
Mr. Fafr, what is the meaning of cyber threat for the banking institutions?
Okay, so if I understood well your question, I will say cyber threat is for the banking industry, and not only the banking industry, but today we are it's a cyber security conference for the UE Banking Federation. The cyber threat is one of the biggest risks for a bank, because if an organization, a bank, get their data stolen by what we sometimes call the bad guys, cyber outside, hackers, exactly.
Yeah.
This have several impacts. First, it may have a financial impact for the institution. It may have and will have a reputational impact for the entity, for the corporate, and it will have, of course, a business impact or a personal impact for the customer. So we try to do the right thing in order to protect our data, to protect our customer, to protect the reputation of the bank, and also indirectly the reputation of the country.
How we can avoid such a threat or such hackers, and are they professional or only amateurs?
Okay, I think there is a mix of both. The image of the hacker doing his stuff on the garage, I think it's over now. More and more there are professional person. We also know that sometimes they are sponsored by state. There is few countries which...
Can you name some of these countries?
I would prefer not sharing any names, but I think we all know this country. There is already a lot of coverage within the press talking about some nation state who try to store information for some...
use it in politics sometimes? No.
It can be. I'm maybe not the right person to answer this question, but there is some noise about what's happened in a recent election
or to use it in the war of information in general.
Yeah. Information is power. So when you get the data, you are in a better shape to drive some strategy or to drive some action. So going back to your question on how we can protect ourselves against a cyber attack. For me, basically, and for the, I personally believe that an organization will never be 100% protected. Okay, I don't think this is possible. Or the ultimate way will be to turn off internet and to ask customer to come in a branch, and there is no online banking and so on. But this will be back to the old days, which guess what? It's not what
it's very slow, maybe, and difficult to deal with.
It's not what we want now. Everybody will have to use mobile, pay online, quick, and fast, and here we go. So I understand that this is the world that we are living, but this brings new risk, and one of these risks is cyber threat, cyber attack. So we can't protect 100% organization. What we can do, and where a bank needs to be good, is to identify what to protect, what we call the critical asset. I need to protect my key information, okay? Like if I do an analogy within a house, you will protect your safe, okay? You will protect some nice
as
paint.
Simple as is that.
Yeah, as simple as that. So you focus on what you need to protect. Second, you need to be able to detect if someone does something wrong, if someone try to get access to your data. So you should have some warning telling you something is going wrong.
It depends on the system they are using.
Yes, depending on the system that they use, the technique. It also depends on the monitoring tools that we have within the bank to identify if someone tried to get in. So identify asset, detect if we are under attack. And then it's about protecting the bank with the right response. And if there is an incident, the ability to recover to this incident. So there's many past incidents where some company has been breached, okay, data has been leaked.
Yes.
Some close the shop as a result of that, and some become stronger after this. So there's several examples maybe we can discuss later.
What are what is the main advantage of the UAE platform in the exchange system here?
So I think the main advantage is, first, is to change a culture, to invite the banking industry to share information. So now there is no excuse anymore to do not share information because we have a platform. Okay.
What kind of information?
So,
is there specific information it must be shared?
Yes. So of course it should be related to cybersecurity. So we share what we call IOC, so it's indicator of compromise. It's a bit technical. So it's basically if someone somewhere get to know that a hacker tried to get access to a firewall, okay, to go through a firewall, to get access to a database. So this person will use an IP address. Like when you browse internet at home, your computer have an IP address. This is your signature. This is
identity.
Your identity, your electronic identity. So we share those bad IP address where we think those guys try to do something wrong, and we try to block those IP address. So we share mainly some information like this, but also we share what we call modus operandi. So for example, if a bank or an organization somewhere in the world get hacked and they identify, oh, this is how the hacker managed to get in because we didn't patch our server, we have done this. Yeah. Guys, be aware, this is how you have to protect yourself. So this set of kind of like a to-do list helping the banking industry or sometimes outside the banking industry on protecting yourself.
So this is how information are shared and
yes.
analyzed.
Yes.
Is there any committee that you collaborate with?
So this Information Cybersecurity Committee has been created in order to promote sharing culture.
Yes.
And it took us, in fact, during the 2 years we first know each other, okay, which was important. So to meet my peers across all the bank, not all banks, the 13 major banks in UAE. And then we start sharing information, we start to focus on some action, we start to engage with central bank to ensure we work on the same priority.
Yes.
And then when we realize that now we have the right maturity of engaging and so on, we identified that it was time now to have a platform to share information more on a more structured manner.
Yes, we will talk later on in this show after this break. Many things concerning the cyber threat and the cyber attacks. We will have a short break. مشاهدينا فاصل قصير ثم نعود إليكم بعد قليل. أهلا بكم مشاهدينا مجددا في هذه الحلقة المتخصصة حول أمن المعلومات في نظام المصرفي الإماراتي. Monsieur Favre, welcome again. My question is about the role of laws to improve the cyber security in the banking sector. So,
a bank in UAE is regulated by the UAE Central Bank, and if you are physically in DIFC, you are also regulated by the DFSA. Those institutions set some guideline and fix some, as you said, some rules that we need to follow. One of the basic rules is when a breach happens, we must report the incident to the central bank. So this is something, there is no space for discussion. When something happens, we need to report to central bank.
Yes.
I need to work with them in order to manage the incident. But if I go back a couple steps before, in fact, the UAE Central Bank asked banks in UAE to comply to something called the NESA, National Electronic Security Authority.
Yes.
The NESA creates a framework of 698 controls that banks have to comply with. As you can imagine, 698, it's a lot, okay? It's a framework, okay? It helps us to ensure banks focus on key aspects. It's not telling us too much about how we need to fix that, but they are guiding us on things that we need to consider. For example, a bank needs to have a password policy. They're not saying that which password we need to use or the complexity of the password, but they need to ensure that banks have proper password policy with proper rotation, recertification, and so on and so on. So we receive guidance from central bank,
yes,
but there is always space for interpretation, and this is where it can be dangerous because there is some banks who would like to be very, let's say, effective on protecting the data and spend a lot of time, energy, and money to meet those controls. and maybe there is some other banks where they still need to mature, and this can bring some opportunity for the hackers to use some vulnerabilities. So everybody have to enhance the game to meet those standards.
Yes, these standards are very well known in UAE, but meanwhile we want to know the real meaning of the fraud, the cyber fraud, or يعني how it can be done.
So basically how
especially digital fraud.
Yeah, digital fraud. So digital fraud is a fraud using a digital channel. Okay, it can be ATM, it can be transfer from a bank account, and so on and so on. At the end of the day, all these hackers, what they will have to do is they will have to take advantage of the information that they will steal from a bank. So
it's only about a war of information, not about, in the simple way, stealing money.
Yeah, it's not always stealing money as directly as you can think. Yes, if someone get access to the banking system,
an account for some personalities.
Yeah, so there is some attack where we've seen in the past around the world where people transfer some money using, for example, SWIFT. Okay, there is some recent
SWIFT code.
SWIFT, the SWIFT incident in the Central Bank of Bangladesh is a recent incident where they stole lots of money. So hackers managed to get into the system, understand how things are working, and made some fraudulent transfer, some fake transfer, or transfer some cash to the wrong account. But sometimes information can be, a way to store data can be, they encrypt the data within the organization, and then after that they ask for money to decrypt the information, otherwise the bank can't operate anymore. This is what we call ransomware.
Yeah.
So they will infect the majority of your...
Chantage,
yeah, exactly.
Chantage.
So they will infect the majority...
So it's the same as we see in movies sometimes?
Yes, sometimes movies are not too far away from the reality, I have to say. Yeah, correct.
Then what are the penalties for such an act?
So, penalties... We have now an example on, it's a European law called GDPR, where it's more about protecting the data privacy of European citizens. But this law now clearly states that if there is a breach of this law, a bank can pay up to 4% of the overall profit, if I'm not wrong, to the institution. So if the bank A didn't follow the GDPR process, regulation and get breached, they can be fined up to 4% of their general revenue, which can be massive depending on the size of the organization. So the European put a threshold, put a money impact. We don't have that yet in the Middle East, at least as far as I'm aware. We don't have a direct financial impact from the regulator. But for sure, any institution will be breached by data leakage will have some financial impact. First, because the reputation of the bank will be impacted. Hence, some customer may leave, may move to the competitor, and this will have an indirect financial impact for the bank which has been breached.
Do you have a list of? First question: some banks in Africa or Asia are involved in such an act. Is there any banks are involved and are on the blacklist?
What do you mean by blacklists?
I mean by banks are involved, not personals or countries or people who do the cyber attack, but really banks. People are professional. Is it يعني
no,
did affect any bank this cyber attack?
So cyber attack affect banks all around the world. There is no.
And are any banks involved?
In the GCC?
Yeah. No,
yes.
no. In Africa or
okay,
somewhere
so
else.
You are asking me if banks are the bad guys hacking some other banks. I don't have any proof of that. No, I can't say. I'm afraid.
طيب. We're gonna talk about what said Abdelaziz Al Ghourer about he's the head of the Union of UAE Banks, of course. He said that there are resignations in the banking sector by 8% in preparation for the digital transformation. What do you think about this transformation?
Okay, so basically what I believe is artificial intelligence and all the fintech and blockchain technology will change the nature of the job within the banking industry.
Yes.
I don't know if this will remove job for existing employees or it will create more in the future. Where I'm sure it will just change the nature of the people that we need and the skills that we need within an organization in order to run the business in the future. But now I don't know if it will have a drop because we bring new technology or if in fact we will do less value-added tasks done by the computer and more added value tasks done by the people on the front side. I don't know that.
So what do you think how we have to deal with techniques such artificial intelligence and banking technologies?
So I think new technology bring new risk to the bank. Okay, so internet bring fantastic opportunity for the customer. You don't have to go to a branch anymore. You can do that things through your mobile
as
banking.
Said before.
But it also brings new risk for a bank, okay? Because now bad guys don't have to take a gun and go to a branch and steal money. They can do that from their living room to some extent, 10,000 kilometers away. Now, it's not because new technology...
The artificial intelligence here in UAE, how we can deal with as a banking sector?
So, for me, we clearly need to understand what does it mean, what kind of value it brings, and how we can take advantage of that. And I know many banks who are already starting changing the way they operate on the back office, on the front office of the organization, using more technology in order to provide quicker service. For example, there's many banks now, I'm sure you see on the advertisement, there's many banks who can open a bank account in 10 minutes.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, it used to take a week to open a bank account. So now we can do that in 10 minutes just because we use technology to proceed, okay? So it's just an example that technology is great, but we need to ensure that at the end we understand the risk.
We are secure.
And we manage
But if we're going to talk about the risk and make an equation, so what are the percentage of this risk?
No, this is difficult.
Question.
For me, in fact, the complexity of my job is to balance the appetite for business to use new technology and to some extent to tell them just be careful. If you go too quick using that without thinking or taking into consideration the big picture, we may bring some new risk for the future. So we can't say no, you don't do this, because at the end of the day we provide service to the bank, but we need to ensure that when they move one step toward new technology, new way of engaging with different parties and so on, they do that understanding properly the risk that they are facing and they manage that. And it's in line with what we call the risk appetite. Okay.
Yes, Monsieur Favre, we continue after the break. مشاهدينا نتوقف مع فاصل إعلاني ثم نعود إليكم. أهلا بكم مجددا مشاهدينا، نعود إلى حوارنا مع Mr. Patrice Favre. The question now is about the UBF, UAE Federation Banking. How many banks are in this year, 2017?
Okay.
Or 2017, 2018?
2017. So there is 48 banks who are member of the UAE Banking Federation.
Yes.
Okay. Now within the committee that I manage, which is Information Security Committee, there is 13 active members.
Yes.
It's a mix of international bank, local bank and Islamic bank to have a good representation of the banking industry across UAE. And
it's gonna increase the number?
No, because within the committee we can't have a meeting with 20%, otherwise it would be less productive. So we like to keep the number of attendees of between 12 and 13.
Yeah. Okay. What are the future activities for UBF committee or communion?
Yeah. So within my domain, again, if you allow me to answer only to this,
yes.
Within my committee, the Information Security Committee, we need to continue to understand the regulatory change around, of course, UAE, but also around the world, because we know when something changes in Europe, sometime we have a a couple years after, we have a copy of that. We need to focus on our payment system. We need to ensure that they are still up-to-date, secure. We need to ensure that the way we share information with key stakeholders like UAE Central Bank, with UAE Credit Bureau, we do that as with the right level of, again, security to ensure that we protect the information of our customer. So, and it's a lot of education, awareness, and also back to your question before, understanding the new technology, because we have a role to educate the banking industry, and when there is a new technology like everybody talk about blockchain and fintech, we need to understand, okay, what does it mean, how does this help, how this can create some problem, and how we manage that. So education is a key topic.
Yeah, you talk about the credit card. I want to mention the what said Mr. Al Ghurair about the credit card or credit query, that the impact is very positive in the banking sector. So what do you think about it?
I think UAE is a is a fantastic country where things are changing so fast. I had a meeting, in fact, yesterday with His Excellency Mr. Al Ghurair, where he shared a number. I was amazed. He shared that in UAE there is 41 billion of check proceed every year, which is massive. So we still proceed checks, but there is a lot of usage of credit card, debit card. In fact, if I'm not wrong, Dubai have a target in 2021 to be cashless. That means you and I, living in UAE, will not use any more
cash
notes. So we will pay by Apple Pay or the equivalent within Android phone. We will use debit card, credit card, just to buy a simple.
Maybe in cheap price. I think there was maybe taxes, maybe anything for. I will end my interview with you talking about something very new. It's fashion, maybe, and people don't know about it. It's the Bitcoin.
Yes.
Can you explain how we deal with it? And now we see the currency is very high to dollar. Maybe can you talk about this?
Yeah, Bitcoin is an interesting topic where, in fact, nobody took this very seriously a few years ago, where a Bitcoin used to cost $1, $5, $10, and now suddenly a Bitcoin costs $15,000, if I'm not wrong.
One Bitcoin.
Yeah, one Bitcoin. So my regret is I didn't buy some Bitcoin long time ago. So this is my personal regret. Now I'm not the right person to tell you if in the future this will become an official currency, bank will start to trade with that. I have no idea. My only thing is
how it starts. What are the starting of this dealing?
I can't answer this question. What I can tell you is, going back to the main topic, which is cyber threat, cyber risk. When a bank is under attack and there is a ransomware, as I explained to you before, in fact, more or less all the time they ask the bank or any organization attacked by the hackers to pay on Bitcoin, because the advantage for the hacker to ask an organization to pay on Bitcoin is because it's extremely difficult to trace where the money moved, who is using that, and so on and so on. If I transfer to your bank account $100,000, someone somewhere will know that Patrice transfer this amount to you. If you move to the Bitcoin, it's more gray, it's less traceable, as I said, hence it's make the life of the hacker easier to hide behind the system. So
it can be involved in blanchissement somehow?
It can. Again, I don't think I'm an expert to answer this question, but it has been used for some bad reason in the past.
Monsieur Patrice Fafr, I thank you a lot. You are the chairman of UBF Information Security Committee. You are most welcome. Thank you for this interview in Pioneers Only on حواس TV. شكرا مشاهدينا لمتابعتكم. نلتقي بكم في الأسبوع المقبل بإذن الله.